I want. What get out the residual packet thing I gave you yesterday, please.
I need money.
My mom doesn't be good. My mom like it's not here. Like I know. Oh, like
It's like literally.
oh, Dana, stay. Please.
Remember when Barney was like, "Oh, I'm gonna come to school every day."
Yeah. I've been here 4 days.
Yeah.
New year, new me.
It's what? Mid-October, early
She hasn't
October.
been here since like 2.
Yeah. Okay. So where were we?
We don't have the level of dedication.
Gavin and Bowman, you should copy this chart down as quickly as you can. Yeah, I'll get to that eventually, but pretend there's not a big X through it or anything circled. Write that down right now as fast as you can. Faster. Go.
Come on, Gavin.
There's no time. I'm trying to let you catch up, so I'm trying to wait for you. But I'm impatient also, so go ahead. Can you talk while you write? I just want to know what you did yesterday, but if it's good sleep, I don't know. Again? What did we do last year?
Yeah, it's almost like
Last time I fell, and actually, this time, that should be 3 hours.
like what's it
I won 6, 7, 6, 3, 7, 3 hours. And then I went to go 6, 6, 3, 7.
And then that's 5, so that's a 10.
I was
So it's not, it won't affect it.
no, it should know. It should be
Exactly. Look,
so
Matt started his first match. Finished his first set. Finished our second match. And he was still on his
Still the first one.
Yeah, I would like 2 hours.
I went to grab some lunch, came back, he was still playing. Took a nap. Sebastian, you ready too? I'm just waiting for, they were here yesterday, and we got stuck, and they don't have it, so I'm waiting for them. You're good? Who's your,
I'm kind of close to learning. We're one letter off.
you're not present, right?
Exactly. Maybe we should get like a little FaceTime robot to sit in the seat so we can actually learn.
That reminds me of like, how sad would that be? Like, I'm imagining her in school, I put like,
There's like a screen. It's like a or like the walls with faces that like crazy people do.
yeah, it would make me feel like.
Like a castaway. Yeah. When she has like a soccer ball.
Okay, let's get going. So, quick review of what we did yesterday. I'm trying to take the IQ score and use that to predict or explain the ACT score. So, IQ is the explanatory, ACT is the response. got this equation. By putting it into our calculator, and that's what we found. This equation I wrote lazily, so just make sure you understand that. What am I missing here? What did I not do? I didn't label it right. So I really should be saying like y equals ACT, and x equals IQ. We did that in the note part though, right? So then we used this equation to figure out what this equation predicts the ACT score would be based on the IQ. So this is this is what was predicted would happen. And then we said, well, okay, the person with an IQ of 100, we predicted a 20.2. They got a 21. So did they do better or worse than we thought? They did better. Didn't they do better? 21 is more than 20.2.
Oh, yeah.
They did better than we thought. The difference between them is 0.8, and it's positive because they overperformed, they overachieved. So it's a positive leftover value. And then we said, okay, 120 IQ, we predict 23.4. They got a 23, so now they underperformed, right? And that's why this is a negative number. You could also get to this number by just doing y minus y hat every single time. Some people like that formula, and some people like to kind of reason through, like, well, it's above, so it's positive, below, so it's negative. And they both work. So what I want to do today is graph the x values and then the residual of every x value. So turn the page, and I know this is annoying because it's not two separate sheets. I apologize. Like you flip it back and forth, but right here, we're gonna make a graph that looks like this. And on the x-axis, we're gonna put IQ. And the IQs go from 70 to like 150. So I'm just gonna go by tens. And then on the side, I'm going to put the residuals. And our residuals go, like the biggest one we had was 5, I think. So I'm going to go up to 5 and down to -5. And again, I'm plotting like the leftovers, the difference between what happens and what we thought was going to happen. Alright, so we're graphing, that's why these are like circled and crossed out from before. These I'm not worried about right now. We used these two to get this number, and then we're graphing these two columns. So for the IQ of 100, we had a residual of 0.8. So I'm going to my graph, I'm trying as best I can to do like 100, comma 0.8, which is, somewhere around there. Doesn't have to be perfect by any means. My next one is 120 and -0.4. So somewhere around there. You see which points, what numbers I'm using to get the points? We're good. Can you keep going? So keep going. That is a great, there's like cross off and stuff. Does that help?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's like 3 this year, sorry. Okay, so it should. Am I good to move these? So I got something like that. Close-ish to what you're looking at. I have an extra point on there. I put an X through, but then it just made it look like it was a super important point. I did it on the calculator too, so I can show you more accurately. So it should look something like that. So let me show you like one of the main purposes of this. I might have some calculator difficulties here, bear with me. But if I look at the original data, that's not the original. See, that's what I mean. Give me some patience here. That's all. That's on C. So does that original data look like it's linear? That's what a residual plot is really used for, to tell if the data is linear. Does that look like a line like fits reasonably well through that data? It does. A residual plot is literally just this. You just make it horizontal. And if you look at your residual plot and that, now that I've twisted it, don't they look the same? So it's really just like how far above or below the axis is it, and then let's like look at it horizontally instead of like crookedly. So the idea is if your residual plot, which is that or that, shows no pattern, like it's just random, that means that this is essentially your line of best fit right here. So if your residual plot shows no pattern, it means your line is running pretty much right through the middle, and a linear model is great, and you are in good shape. So let's go down, and I want to show you what happens if it's not too, but let's write some stuff first. So what does it mean if the residual plot shows randomness or no pattern? Linear model is appropriate. So in the further along stats class, you'd be like, okay, what if it's not? Let's try an exponential model or a parabolic model or a log model. And then for right now, you need to know is linear good or not. In future classes, you'd be like, if it's not, let's try these things. But we don't get that far. But I just want to show you what it looks like if it doesn't. Because people are like, well, what do you mean like random? Like show me what random wouldn't look like. So I gotta edit my numbers a little bit here. But for example, I'm just gonna square all these. So a linear model should not be appropriate because I'm squaring everything, so it should be like an x squared model. So we'll see what that looks like. So if I graph this data, that line shouldn't be, ignore the line. Does that look like a linear model is the best way, or should it be some kind of curve that fits that pattern? It should be a curve, right? So if we did a linear model, I want to show you what the residual plot would look like. Thank you for your patience. I don't know why that's happening. Does anybody else? Wait, maybe I'm not. Okay. That's what the residual looks like for the curve I just showed you. So is that a random pattern or is that a very clear curved pattern? That's a very clear curved pattern. So I mean it's like literally a U, right? So if it's a very clear curved pattern, that means the original data is also a curve. Because remember our original data looks like that. So if the the residual plot shows a curve, then the data is curved. And a linear model is not appropriate. So if your data is curved, your residual plot will also be curved. If your data is linear, your residual plot will just show like randomness because it represents the line kind of like going through a bunch of random dots. And like, just drop a couple here. If my residual plot looks like this, is a linear model an appropriate fit or not? Yes, because that's showing just random scattered points. If my residual plot looks like this, that's curved residual, which means the data is actually curved and the linear model is not the best fit. Okay. Yeah. Fanning? You mean something like this?
Yeah. It was in the note.
Was it?
Yeah, they said that a linear model would not be appropriate. You know why? They didn't really explain.
Let me think about it. It's not something I've ever seen on the test. But if you're curious, I can look at it later. Okay. What does it mean if a residual is positive? So we've talked about this a little bit. Like this point up here, let's say, is a positive residual. Where does that mean it was in relation to the line above it? It doesn't mean we overperformed or underperformed. Overperformed. So positive is above the line. That means we overachieved. I.e., yeah, that looks wrong. And then if the residual is negative, we're below the line. We underachieved. Questions on this page though? Alright, so then flip to the next page. This is another like I should have put lines in here for you, but I didn't, so we gotta make our own table. Before I forget, and apologies if someone has done it, because I feel like it's possible that you two might have. The 2-4 notes you don't have to do. Did anybody already do the 2-4 notes? Did you? It's not going to hurt you. You don't have to do the homework for it, you don't have to do the notes for it. It won't be on the test. I'm going to put up there optional the ln and log. So 2-4 is like mostly that, right? Logs and lns and transform, yeah. So I'm going to go through the stuff you need. I apologize for not telling you earlier, but I just realized it. So you do not, no one has to do the 2-4 notes or 2-4 homework. Did you do the homework already? Did you do the 2-4 homework already? Okay, so this is just like IQ or ACT or height and shoe size. I'm trying to use one thing to predict another. And what I'm saying here is, can I look at your test on Unit 1 and then use that to predict your score on Test 2? So if you fail Test 1, are you likely to fail Test 2? If you got an A in Test 1, are you likely to get an A in Test 2? And I get this equation up here. So predicted Test 2 equals 0.95 times Test 1 plus 10. So which variable is explanatory? Test 1 or Test 2? Which one? Test 1. Because I think that your Test 1 can explain your Test 2 or predict your Test 2. And I think Test 2 is a response to your Test 1. And Test 1 is also in like the explanatory variable spot. So you that way. Test 1's your explanatory, test 2 is your response. So the first thing I want to do is just fill out this column right here. So to find the predicted test 2, I'm going to plug test 1 into this equation up top. So like for the first one, I'm doing 0.95 times 90 plus 10. I get 95.5. So make sure you get the same thing. You know like how you're supposed to find it. We good? We get the right number and you know what to do. So if I do the second one, I'll just keep going. You can keep going faster than me if you want. I'm just plugging this 80 into test 1. So 0.95 times 80 plus 10 is 86. This is where that second enter comes in kind of handy. Your instant replay speeds it along a little bit. Is that part okay? I mean, fill it out. Like, don't just copy my numbers. You want to make sure you do it. Then I go through the other two columns. Solid. Fantastic work today.
I know. I'm here work done. I'm good.
Are we good on that column there? All right, so then let's look at these two columns is really what I want to get into. So this person got a 90 on test 1. I predicted they'd get a 95.5 on test 2. They actually got an 89. So did they do better or worse than we expected them to? They did worse, so the residual will be positive or negative. Negative. So it's going to be negative because it wouldn't be above or below the line. Below the line, and it's a negative. Just subtract these two, and it's 6.5 apart, so your residual is negative 6.5. The second one kind of flips the logic. So an 80 on test 1, I predict test 2 is going to be an 86. Well, they have a negative residual, so did they do better or worse than we expected? They did worse, and they did 5 worse. So 5 worse than 86. Does that make sense what I'm doing? You want me to keep going or you want to go? Okay. You're the first person to spoke, so thanks, Lainey. Elaine. People call you Elaine ever?
But her name is like technically Elaine, and when like on the first day of school,
Oh, okay. You're like, no, I'm the one that's going to be here. So I'll put that chart up so you can check it, but again, if you're just copying down, that's like completely useless. If you don't understand where the numbers are coming from, please let me know so I can help you figure it.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So I just circle that.
I don't know how to touch that. We good on this table? Okay. Then we gotta do the bottom two questions. Alright. So on the bottom two here, I'll do the first one, you guys will do the second one. So they're telling me in number one, y hat equals 3x plus 10. So there's some data that I don't even care about, and they got this regression line. I want to find the residual for the point 2, 18. So 2 is your x value. 18 is your actual y value. That's what actually happens. Residual is how far it is away between like what actually happened and what we thought was going to happen. So how do I need to find what we thought was going to happen? So how do I find what we thought was going to happen? Plug 2 in for x right there. Yep. And then I'll get y hat equals 3 times 2 plus 10. So y hat is 16. That's what I predicted. The actual y value was 18. So some people just like the straight up math formula. Your residual is always going to be y minus y hat, and you can just go, okay, that's 18 minus 16, and that's 2. Some people prefer to kind of reason through it and go, okay, well, we predicted 16, they got 18, so they did better, and they did 2 better, and that would be above the line. So you can use the formula, or you can just kind of think through it like above, below, by how much, whatever like works better for your brain. Cornell.
Is it required to have
Holy crap.
Is it required to have the answer like the number 2 and the above?
Yeah, because it says find the residual, and is it above or below? So you guys try number 2. We got Sebastian in attendance, and Cornell asked a question. What a day.
Only Lainey was here with me. I know.
Oh yeah, now we're asking too much. All 3 of those things. Yeah, they actually showed up, and you guys skipping school. Yeah. So, who just said I was sleeping? Sebastian. At least you're not like, I don't know, at least you don't pretend. Yeah. I guess they want to come out of sleep. And you never come back and like put the burden on me. Like I got students that'll miss like 4 days every week, and they'll be like, "What did I miss? Tell me what to do. What did I need to say for school?" I'm like, screw you. So this is 12, and then the actual y value is 8. So again, you can always do y minus y hat, which will give you 8 minus 12, which will give you -4, and then you don't really have to think about it as much. But if you forget that formula, then you're just going, okay, I'm 4 below what we expected, so that's -4, and that's below. The residual itself is -4, and then if it says that because I'm doing find the residual, and is the data point above or below, so I'm answering like 2 questions. Is that it? Alright, at this point you should be able to do every con except for, I think it says like least squares regression output. That one we're going to talk about Monday. It'll take like 5-10 minutes. The rest of your Monday is a work day. And my tentative plan is review Tuesday and test Thursday. Because we want to have class on Wednesday. There is a slight possibility that on Tuesday we'll be doing the review and I'll be like, holy crap, they're not ready. We'll review again Thursday and take it Friday, but don't count on that. I don't love that there's like a day off between class and the test, so I might push it back, but I wouldn't count on it. It's possible. Yeah.
What is the plan for Wednesday? I know they're taking what SAT stuff.
I'm proctoring the SAT. I have no idea what you
Are we
guys.
supposed to do like after the notes?
Do we have to be or not?
I have no idea.
You don't have to.
Well, you go to classes in the afternoon.
Okay, but do we know which classes?
Do like 5, 6, 7.
Like you could just call out and then just not come. Like if you skip like the morning section.
Michael, do you have a- What were you asking?
Monday, we make sure that you like.
Dude, that had lunch.
I record every day. I'll make extra sure.
That's gonna be easy. I am online.
So if I don't record in here, it means I recorded first hour. So if you're wondering, like,